So hello and welcome to the Premier League predictions and preview show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button. It really does help people find the channel and find the videos, which is really key to growing the channel. First off, in case you haven't seen my video before, I was doing a watch along live stream and it got copyright striked by some company, so I'm no longer able to do live streams. I have counterclaimed, I have gone at them, and I have written to them, but I'm not sure how long this process will take. So live streams may be on my Twitch channel, or they may just not happen at all. It is a very annoying situation, but hopefully we'll get a resolution soon. It was just literally me talking to the camera. So I'm very annoyed about it. But let's get straight into the Premier League preview then. So first game, the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday is Fulham versus Watford. So Watford have had a very good start to the season. So far they find themselves in fourth with 4 wins and just that one defeat against Manchester United. Fulham, they've only had one win so far this season against Burnley and 1 draw against Brighton, and they've lost their last 3 of their opening 5 games. A 2-0 defeat against Crystal Palace, followed by 2 defeats to Tottenham away and Manchester City away. So you can understand why they haven't picked up that many points so far. So it's been difficult for both teams, but I think this one will be quite tight. Watford, they might bounce back with a win. Can Fulham get a win? I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for Fulham, getting their second win of the season and moving themselves away from the relegation zone and up into mid-table. So that would be the second defeat for Watford in a row. Next, we have 5 Premier League 3 o'clock kickoffs. Due to there's no Monday Night Football tonight, this weekend, due to the Carabao Cup. So that is why. So Burnley had a terrible start to the season. Out of their 5 games, they've lost their last 4 in a row and drew the opening game against Southampton. They are on 1 point and are currently bottom of the table. Complete opposite for Bournemouth. They have had an amazing start to the season. 3 wins, 1 defeat to Chelsea, which is fair enough, and then a 2-2 draw with Everton. 10 points out of 15. It's absolutely brilliant by Bournemouth. They are currently in 5th place. It's going to be tough for Burnley once again, I feel. Ben Gibson will be out, as will Nick Pope. Both out with long-term injuries, but Gibson should be back fairly sharpish. I'm going to go for a draw here. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to go for Burnley to get their second point of the season, and Bournemouth to get a decent point really overall at Burnley. But it could go either way. That one could definitely go either way, but a 1-1 draw is what I'm going to go with. Next, we have newly promoted Cardiff taking on the champions in Manchester City. Manchester City have already dropped points this season to a newly promoted side in Wolves, where they went to Molineux and drew 1 apiece. Emerick Laporte countering out the handball goal by Willy Bolly. Cardiff are yet to make a win this season. They are one of 4 sides that have not won so far. They have picked up just 2 points, a draw against Newcastle at home 0-0 and a draw against Huddersfield 0-0. Manchester City, 4 wins out of 5, 1 draw, 0 defeats. They are one of 3 teams not to have suffered a defeat so far this season. I am going to go for a City win here. I'm going to go for around 3-0 to Manchester City. I don't think Cardiff will pose much of a threat to Manchester City, and they should get back to winning ways after a very disappointing midweek campaign in the Champions League, losing 2-1 to Lyon. Next, we have Crystal Palace and Newcastle. So Palace, they had a bit of a blip when they lost 3 in a row to Liverpool, Watford and Southampton, but they got back to winning ways on Saturday, beating Huddersfield 1-0. They have Wilfried Zaha back, which is a huge boost for them, and they'll be looking to get another 3 points. Newcastle are in 19th place with just 1 point so far. that 0-0 draw with Cardiff. The other losses, to their credit, have come. They've all been very, very tight. 2-1 losses to Tottenham, Chelsea, Manchester City and Arsenal. I'm going to go for a Crystal Palace win. I think with Zaha, they should get the win here. I'm going to go 2-1 to Newcastle. But I do feel if they lose this, there'll be starting to be some concerns raised over the side. 6 games without a win, just 1 point that would be if they did lose. And things will be starting to unfold at Newcastle. They need to get a win here, or they're going to be starting to be sucked in at the bottom of the table. They do have some easier fixtures coming up, so that is good. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Crystal Palace there. Next, we have Leicester City and Huddersfield. So mixed starts for both. Leicester City have won 2 and lost 3. They are on 6 points in 11th place. Huddersfield are yet to win this season. 2 draws, one against Cardiff, which was very disappointing, but a very, very, very valuable draw at Everton, drawing 1 apiece. Leicester City are the team I think will win this. I think Vardy is back. Yes, Vardy has finished his suspension and will be back in the side. They will be without Wes Morgan, who suffered a red card last week against Bournemouth. I'm going to go 3-1 to Leicester, a comfortable win against Huddersfield, and Huddersfield will go 6 games without a win in the Premier League. They started off the season quite well, 2 wins in 2 if I remember correctly against Crystal Palace and then Newcastle, and they faded away during the season a little bit but come back strong at the end. But they need to start picking up points fairly soon. Next we have Liverpool and Southampton. Liverpool have won 6 games in a row, 5 in the league and 1 in the Champions League on Tuesday night when they beat PSG 3-2. Southampton, it's been a very, very mixed bag for them. 1 win, 2 draws and 2 defeats. The draws coming against Brighton and Burnley. Defeats coming against Everton and Leicester. And then their only win coming away at Crystal Palace. They currently sit in 13th. Liverpool, they are joint top. They are second with a slightly worse goal difference than Chelsea. 5 wins in a row, just 2 goals conceded. That's the least in the league so far. I'm going to go for a comfortable 2-0 win to Liverpool and go into 6 games in a row with that would be an amazing start. They meet Chelsea next weekend, and if Chelsea can get a win on Sunday, when we'll cover that soon, then they both go with 6 wins out of 6, and 1 record will definitely fall at Anfield. No wait, it's at Stamford Bridge, so that will be very interesting indeed. And finally, the last 3 o'clock kickoff is Manchester United versus Wolves. Manchester United will be without several first teamers, including Rojo, Jones and Herrera will be all out with injuries, but 2 red card suspensions in Matic, who got sent off for 2 bookings against Watford, and Rashford, who was sent off for a headbutt against Burnley. Both of those players will be missing. But Delot made his debut in the week. Maybe he will be involved in the squad. And also Fred coming in over the summer and Pereira. So they do have a little bit of cover for Matic. However, I'm not sure if any of those can do the Matic role. So Wolves are in 9th with 8 points, 2 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat. Their only defeat coming against Leicester. Their draws coming against Everton and Manchester City, which is very good, and then wins against West Ham and Burnley. Manchester United, they've won 3 and drawn and lost 2. Wins against Watford, Burnley and Leicester City, and then defeats against Tottenham and Brighton. I think this one's going to be quite tough for United, but they won their last 3 with those 2 wins in the Premier League, and then a 3-0 win over Young Boys on Wednesday. Really, really comfortable win there. Wolves have also won their last 3 in a row with the 2 Premier League games and then a 2-0 win over Sheffield Wednesday. I think this one will be really tight. I'm going to go for a slight win for Manchester United, a 2-1 victory over Wolves. But I'm expecting it to be a very, very, very close game. But 3 points there would see Manchester United maybe rise up into the top 4 with a very, very comfortable win. But I think that they'll just get the win here. Finally, the last Saturday game is Brighton versus Tottenham. Tottenham have lost their last 3 in a row, which is the first time under Maurizio Pochettino. They started the season fairly well with 3 wins in a row at Manchester United away, Fulham at home and Newcastle away, and everything was going swimmingly. Then they lost to Watford 2-1, lost to Liverpool 2-1, and then lost to Inter Milan after being 1-0 up with about 3 minutes plus stoppage time to go. They lost the game 2-1. Very disappointing indeed. Tottenham need to bounce back here. Brighton, they've only had 1 win so far this season, 3 defeats and 2 draws. The 1 win coming against Manchester United at the Amex Stadium. Losses against Watford and Brighton in the league, and then the Southampton defeat in the Carabao Cup. But they have drawn their last 2-2. Draws against Fulham at home and Southampton away, coming from 2-0 behind to pick up a very valuable point at St James's Park. They may be without Gross again, who's such a key figure, as is Izquierdo. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Tottenham. I think that they'll get back to winning ways. They need to get back to winning ways. But I think Brighton will give them a very, very, very good game at the Amex Stadium. So tomorrow or Sunday, we have 2 really, really interesting games indeed. The first one is a London derby between West Ham and Chelsea. Chelsea have won their last 5 games in a row. They also won in the league, Europa League, so they've won their opening 6 games of the season under Maurizio Sarri, who currently boasts a 100% record at Chelsea. West Ham has been the polar opposite. Just 1 win coming against Everton on Sunday. Really, really valuable 3 points after 4 defeats in a row. Their only other win came against AFC Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup, who were down to 10 men for the majority of the game. I think this one will be very, very, very tight indeed. I don't think there'll be much between it, but I think Chelsea may just scrape it 1-0, going 6 games in a row with victories at the start of the season, which would be absolutely fantastic. Setting up that game against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge with 6 wins and 6 wins, who will come out on top? That one will be really interesting. But if Chelsea can win here, that would set up something very, very special next weekend. Very, very much looking forward to that. But I think West Ham will give them a good game. I just think Chelsea will have that extra bit of class just to get past them. Finally, the last game is Arsenal versus Everton. So Arsenal, after 2 defeats from their opening 2 games against Chelsea and Manchester City, they've won their last 3 Premier League games. A 3-1 win over West Ham, a 3-2 victory over Cardiff, and then a 2-1 win over Newcastle. As well as that, they did win in the Europa League 4-2. Everton, it's been a mixed bag for them. 1 win, 3 draws and 1 defeat. The defeat coming against West Ham in that very, very surprising game on Sunday. 3 draws against Huddersfield, Bournemouth and Wolves, and then the only win coming against Southampton. So, a mixed bag for them. I think that Arsenal will get the win here, 2-1. I think they'll have just enough to beat Everton, but I think there won't be a lot between it. 4 wins on the balance now for Unai Emery after those 2 defeats, which is fantastic, and they could make it 5, and I think they will. So that is my preview and predictions. Over the next week, there is Carabao Cup. So most of the Premier League teams are in action, including all 7 of the teams that finished in Europe, which is the top 6 and Burnley. So they will all be playing in midweek. So I hope you enjoyed that preview. There will be reviews out over the weekend. So I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.